Welcome to Asian American Life. I'm your host, Ernabel Demillo. Happy Lunar New Year and Gong Hei Fa Choi. It is the year of the ox, and we are kicking off the season with stories of extraordinary Asian American leaders who are doing business with a purpose. Plus, I'll have a special report on how the COVID-19 lockdown has led to a rise in domestic violence. Now, here's a look at what's ahead on our show. Meet the woman who's changing how we wash at home. Spice of Life, cooking up Asian cuisines from around the world. And checkmate, this 10-year-old chess prodigy has all the right moves. This and more on Asian American Life. While the world shelters in place to keep COVID-19 from spreading, there is another public health concern worrying many. Violence against women and children has surged, and advocates we talk to say Asian women are especially vulnerable.
Right now, many people are trapped in their homes with an abuser. This is the shadow pandemic.
According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, 1 in 4 women and 1 in 10 men will experience intimate partner violence. In the wake of the pandemic, these numbers will likely rise. The Korean American Family Service Center is already dealing with a surge in calls for help.
One of our core services to provide a 24-hour hotline in bilingual Korean and English. And we've seen the calls to our 24-hour hotline increase to 300%.
KAFSC usually receives about 100 calls a month. 1 month during the pandemic, they received 800, overwhelming this small nonprofit serving the Korean and Asian American community in New York. Past studies have shown that intimate partner violence disproportionately affects communities of color and other marginalized groups, and these are the groups being impacted most during COVID.
They are immigrants as well as low-income families, and they're all clusters because of the pandemic, because of the lockdown. Many of our clients and their families are clustered in a very small space. And therefore, the frequency of the abuse have increased. And a lot of times, the targets are not just the adults anymore. It's the children who are also trapped at home with the abusers.
Meanwhile, other organizations working with survivors saw a different trend, a disturbing one.
So at the start of the pandemic, we actually saw a decrease in callers like the first month and a half.
According to a recent article in the New England Journal of Medicine, the number of calls to helplines at the start of the lockdowns actually dropped, more than 50% in some areas. Advocates say the number of cases didn't go down. Instead, victims at home with their abusers were afraid to call for help.
You know, it caused isolation, it caused limited access to being able to get the resources that they may historically have needed. You know, schools are places that children are able to, talk about things that may be happening at home, and that wasn't available to them anymore.
Womankind, based in New York City, found one way to help victims by offering a feature where victims can quietly report their abuse through texting.
During the pandemic, we thought, it was extremely helpful to be able to have those features because survivors who maybe were living in an abusive household were now able to text or chat without, having to speak out loud and talk.
And while organizations are working on ways to making it easier to seek help, Asian American women are still the least likely to report abuse. The reasons vary, from language barriers to immigration status. And for many, there are cultural reasons why they stay quiet.
So there's stigma associated with domestic violence, as well as I think Asian communities, as well as other immigrant communities, are collectivist in nature. And so you're thinking not just about yourself, but you're thinking about your family and your family's needs and how decisions you may make impact all of the different pieces of your life, especially your family members.
And recently, COVID has brought out another fear, violence outside the home against Asian Americans.
As reports of coronavirus have spread across the U.S., so have incidents of anti-Asian violence.
This is the moment passers-by say a woman wearing a face mask was attacked in a New York subway station.
For survivors, it was like it was a heightened in the sense, like, you know, there's trauma and violence happening in the home, and there's fear of it happening outside the home. And so it was a sense of like, how do I navigate and be able to get the resources that I need without, you know, being harmed outside my home.
The access to resources is the first step to recovery. We talked to one survivor and she asked to remain anonymous.
경찰한테 신고해도 어떻게 할 수가 없죠. 저는 내가 신분이 없었기 때문에 경찰한테 신고하면 제가 오히려 더.
A friend told her about KAFSC's 24-hour bilingual hotline. Soon after her initial call, she was able to secure long-term housing, attain legal status, and most importantly, she and her daughter were able to escape their violent domestic situation.
지금도 감사하고. 그래서 저희 지금 이렇게 살고 있는 게 지금 너무 행복해요. 지금 행복하게 잘 살고 있어요. 감사합니다.
A phone call changed her life, and she hopes that by sharing her story with us, that someone listening will seek the help they need. I'm Ernabel Demillo for Asian American Life.
I'm Kyung Yoon. Every year, more than 300 million tons of plastic are produced around the world, and half of these plastic products are used just once and thrown away, winding up in landfills and in our water supply. I spoke with an enterprising businesswoman and mother of two who's on a mission to reduce single-use plastic packaging so that a clean home doesn't have to mean sacrificing a clean environment.
3 years ago, Sarah Paiji was weaning her firstborn son from breast milk to infant formula. The new mom started doing some research on the best water for mixing her baby's formula.
I was horrified to learn that regardless of whether you're drinking bottled water or tap water, that our drinking water contains typically like hundreds of pieces of microplastics. And that's when I started to connect the dots between like all this plastic that we're consuming as a society, how it's ending up in our waterways, in our ocean.
From lotions to shampoos to laundry detergent, it's nearly impossible to find a household product that isn't packaged in plastic and tossed out after one use. For cleaning products alone, more than 5 billion plastic containers are discarded every year in the United States. And this gave Sarah an idea.
Let's shrink, a window glass cleaner or, a multi-surface cleaner that's like this big down into a tablet that's the size of a quarter. We thought, sure, it makes no sense that we're paying for all this water. A lot of those cleaners are over 90% water and people have water at home. So why can't we create these, simple refill tablets?
It was a simple idea, but getting the right formulation and testing it to meet eco-friendly standards for effectiveness and safety took years. Finally, on Earth Day in April of 2019, Sarah's company, Blueland, was officially launched, offering refillable plastic bottles along with dissolving cleaning tablets priced at $2 each, so that you never need to buy a single-use container again. The products quickly caught on and spread through social media, even catching the attention of some celebrity influencers.
We had Kim Kardashian, even, come across our products. She like tweeted out about them. She said she was going to buy them. She actually purchased her own products. Like she gave us money to then, receive our products and talk about them. Drew Barrymore was another one.
Hey everybody, check this out. I found out about this company on Instagram.
And then she was like constantly talking about them on Instagram, and even most recently talked about them on her TV show that she has.
We give you a royalty of 50 cents per kit until you make your money back.
Done.
But it was this appearance on Shark Tank that aired in September 2019, barely 5 months after the company had launched, that sent the visibility and sales of Blueland products through the roof.
Shark Tank was the most terrifying professional experience I think I've ever had, but also just the most exhilarating and, one of the most rewarding.
You got Kevin O'Leary scrubbing toilets for you.
When Blueland asked me to clean a toilet on TV, I said, "Are you joking?" But here I am because Blueland is serious about saving you money.
Kevin O'Leary has been an incredible partner to us. He has been down and open to do sort of whatever it takes to really get, again, the name of our brand and our mission out there.
That's the magic right there.
That included getting Sarah and Blueland onto the home shopping network QVC within weeks of the Shark Tank deal.
QVC can drive massive volume, like in the scale of like hundreds of thousands of dollars in a matter of like 10 minutes. So it is an incredibly powerful channel where the audience is tuned in and, ready to shop.
2019 was not even a full year, first year of business for you. And then 2020 happened and COVID. So what was the impact of that?
March, when COVID really landed in the US and concerns of it spiked and people were sheltering at home, we saw the demand for our products surge by 300%. The consumer's relationship with cleaning has also shifted permanently. I think people are taking hand washing a lot more seriously. People will continue to be more vigilant about cleaning their surfaces, about using hand sanitizer, about wearing masks.
As a child of Asian immigrants, Sarah says the values at the heart of Blueland were embedded in her from an early age.
Many of us have these immigrant roots where our parents or our grandparents came here with very little. This mindfulness around not being wasteful is very ingrained in many of us, and certainly in me growing up. I just remember, my parents saved all the takeout containers. They would wash all the takeout containers and they save all of them to reuse them for something, right? I remember even Ziploc bags, they would use them, oh, that's still good, that's still clean, right? Maybe rinse it out, and they would save it to reuse it.
And future plans for Blueland go beyond reducing plastic packaging for household cleaners and include beauty products, food, and even beverages, all designed to be reusable and connecting the health of our bodies to a healthier planet. I'm Kyung Yoon for Asian American Life.
Som is a Vietnamese phrase that means rowdy and noisy, an appropriate name for a company that isn't shy about bringing culturally uncompromised Asian flavors to your home.
Korean bulgogi, Thai lab, Filipino sisig. Imagine cooking your favorite eat-out Asian dishes at home. That's a concept behind Asian meal starters from startup Som.
So Amsam is a proud and loud Asian food brand. We craft what we call starters, which are little pouches filled with all of the aromatics, spices, seasonings, and oils that you would need for a specific Asian dish.
First-generation Vietnamese-American sisters Kim and Vanessa Pham co-founded Amsam with a desire to be represented.
Growing up, we didn't feel particularly seen or heard in this, ethnic aisle in most mainstream grocery stores.
Instead, the Pham sisters found diluted Asian flavors not representative of the fastest growing population in the country, which makes up a major buying force.
Really wanted to build a company very intentionally that really reclaims and celebrates not just Asian flavors and cuisines, but stories and communities.
The sister stories start as daughters of Vietnamese refugees who end up rediscovering their roots as adults.
We grew up in Boston in a town that was 98% white. I think for a long time, there was definitely a bit of shame associated with my heritage and my culture. And it wasn't probably until I think around college that I truly stepped into the power and the beauty and the legacy of being a Vietnamese American woman.
A perspective that inspires the sisters to stay true to their vision.
Restaurants have done all this incredible work to educate the American palate on real deal Asian flavors. And so we were like, wow, the time is so right to really kind of create a product that honors these communities and cuisines.
And in doing so, the Pham sisters struck up a collaboration with some of those incredible restaurants and the chefs behind them, making them Amsam's tastemakers. Nicole Ponseca of Jeepney, Jimmy Lee of Madame Vo, and the brothers behind Fish Cheeks, to name a few.
So these are all, first generation or immigrant folks, very much like us, who have cut their teeth in these cuisines and, have opened restaurants, written cookbooks. But really on top of that, aside from just being experts, right, they're actually really pushing the forefront of what it means to eat this cuisine in 2020.
And for these local chefs, Amsam provides a national audience selling online. Launched in May during the peak of the pandemic, the Pham sisters forged ahead in uncertain times, knowing their product would be useful to all those cooking at home, but not exactly prepared for the reception.
We sold out within 72 hours of launch. And so we were we gotta restock, because I think it just showed us that one, this Asian American community deeply deserves a brand, hopefully like ours, that is really intentional, really working hard to showcase these flavors and show them with cultural integrity. But then also I think we weren't expecting a non-Asian audience to be really excited. Folks who are like, hey, I have these dishes at restaurants, but I can never ever try and make them at home.
Within 2 weeks of launching, Amsam was selling in all 50 states, with over a third of sales coming from areas with lower Asian populations like the South and Midwest.
What we learned is that in these areas, there is a huge appetite for Asian cuisine, but the nearest Asian grocery store could be 45 minutes, an hour and a half.
Highlighting the key component of Amsam's allure, real deal flavors from real deal ingredients.
Over 90% of our specialty ingredients come directly from Asia, from the country of origin. So we source 5 different types of chili, because we have a Thai chili, we have a Korean chili, we have 2 different types of Chinese chilies.
Southeast Asian and East Asian sampler packs are $29 and come with 6 starter packets and easy-to-follow recipes for 3 classic Asian dishes created by Amsam's tastemaker chefs. For shopping selections, along with cutting-edge recipes and the Amsam blog, check out amsam.com. Flavors that will add spice to your life. For Asian American Life, I'm Susan Jhun.
I'm Minnie Roh. If you're a fan of the Netflix hit sensation, The Queen's Gambit, about a chess prodigy named Beth Harmon, you should know about a real-life chess prodigy named Oliver Boydell. An Asian American fifth grader from New York City, this 11-year-old is not only a master of his own game, he's also written a book that he hopes can help you with your game as well. Serious chess players like Oliver Boydell say the Netflix mega hit The Queen's Gambit is an authentic portrayal of his beloved game.
I think it's a very great movie, and it shows how a person that doesn't know anything about chess can become such a great chess player and a chess champion.
Oliver knows a thing or two about chess. He is a national and New York City chess champion, and he has a slew of trophies to prove it. He even wrote this book called He's Got Moves, 25 legendary chess games as analyzed by a smart kid, breaking down some of the most riveting games of all time, dating back 2 centuries. An amazing feat, considering Oliver is just barely over a decade old.
I've gathered so many games from ever since I was 5 years old, because I've had so many chess lessons where took notes on these games. So I just had all these notes and I wanted to make something cool of it. So I thought, why not I make it into a book?
Oliver began playing chess when he was just 5. A few months later, he entered his first tournament and captured the kindergarten national championship and a trophy that was almost as tall as him.
It's very strategic, so you have to use your brain a lot, and it's a thinking game, and it's also very competitive, and I'm a competitive person, but most importantly, it's super fun.
Chess isn't always competitive. Chess can also be beautiful.
Thanks to dramas like The Queen's Gambit, chess is enjoying a boost of popularity in the already highly respected game that is played by over 600 million people across the globe. Chess is truly the great equalizer. There are no limits to who can play.
Anybody can play chess. You don't have to be Asian. You don't have to be any type of culture or religion. It's just, if you enjoy it, you can play no matter what.
Like Beth Harmon, the protagonist in The Queen's Gambit, who began playing in her orphanage basement with the custodian, Oliver also stumbled onto chess by chance. As his mom, Tiffany, explains, she thought Oliver's older brother, Sebastian, would pick up the game, not Oliver.
My sister's kids, similar ages, they were going to chess tournaments already. They live in California. And she told me, oh, you should get your boys into chess. I actually got my oldest son into kind of like chess after school, and he thought it was okay, but it was not like his thing.
Then she noticed that Oliver was playing with a pre-installed chess game on her iPad. She thought, why not? And got Oliver a chess lesson as well.
Within the first lesson, the teacher said to me, oh, Tiffany, he's phenomenal. I'm like, really? Like, he just got it really quickly. And he showed passion. And he said, no, Oliver is like fantastic. I was blown away. And it just kind of took off from there.
Oliver says his dream is one day becoming a grandmaster. He plays chess whenever he can, but he's also just a typical 11-year-old who enjoys skiing, soccer, and playing video games. Even though I'm not a chess player, I asked Oliver to play a game.
Capture that pawn on the B5 square.
Oh, darn it!
He was an encouraging opponent.
I'm like so nervous now. I'm going to just put that right there.
Okay, that is actually a good move.
Oh, it is? Why is that a good move?
Well, it's attacking the centers.
But don't be fooled. Behind that cute face lies a killer instinct. In under 10 moves.
Yeah, and then I can take the bishop on the F8 square, which would be checkmate.
So there's nothing I can do to move anything?
No. Admittedly, my ego was a little bruised. But this precocious 11-year-old tried to cheer me up, sharing a lesson that he says he learned from years of playing chess.
Even if you lose, you just need to learn from your mistakes and not get angry. Of course, you can get mad, but like don't get too mad, and just learn from your mistakes and improve next time.
Oliver is certainly wise beyond his years. A final footnote about the book: while the research took years to compile, Oliver says he wrote the book entirely under lockdown during the pandemic because, as he put it, he had nothing else to do. I'm Minnie Roh for Asian American Life.
That's our show for now. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to learn more about our stories, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Asian American Life. I'm Ernabel Demillo. We'll see you next time. Have a happy Lunar New Year.